Hi everybody, it's me, Miss Nelson, and I'm doing a read aloud today on a book called Blabber Mouse by True Kelly. But before we start reading, we know what we have to do. We have to anticipate and maintain meaning. That means we need to look at the pictures and put the story in our head before we start reading. So let's go ahead and do that. Wow, there's a lot of writing right there. I see a lot of different mice. I see some mice friends. They kind of look like they're telling a secret. They might be at school over here. I see a lot of books. Uh-oh. This mouse doesn't look too happy down here. All right. This is Blabber Mouse by True Kelly. Enjoy. Before we start reading, let's go over the reading process. First, we have to think deeply about meaning. Your purpose for reading today is to synthesize, meaning put together, the ideas and information in the text to determine the main ideas or the theme of the story. We're going to be thinking about, what can we learn from this story? What does the character learn from this story? First, we have to anticipate and maintain meaning. That means we preview the text, so maybe look at the pictures, the front cover, the back. Monitor and self-correct to maintain meaning. So you have to make sure you understand the text. You have to stop and think, does that make sense? Does it sound right? Does it look right? Solve words to maintain meaning. Well, if we come across a tricky word, what can we do? We could chunk it out, read across the word, or use context clues to help us out. Adjust fluency to maintain meaning. Well, how does the author want me to read this? How can I use my voice to show my understanding? You have to make it sound interesting. And last, we talk about the ideas and information in books. How can I explain my thinking so that others understand? When we talk about the books, we want to do it in an organized way. Blabber Mouse by True Kelly. And don't forget, your purpose for reading today is to synthesize the ideas, that means put them together, and information to determine the main ideas or the theme of the story. Blabber Mouse liked to talk and talk. He talked about his friends, Eric, Jojo, Alice, Kate, Stephen, Lulu, Joan, Charlotte, George, and his hobbies, and his adventures. And what he saw, and where he'd been, and the things he remembered. He told stories. He told jokes. What did the cat say when the mouse kicked him? Meow! Where do sheep get their hair cut? At the Baba shop. He recited his own poetry. The ship sailed, she sailed, and all aboard waved their tails goodbye. Their mommies and daddies stood on the shore and all began to cry. It was dark upon the stormy sea. The wind turned waves to foam. The little mice were very scared and wanted to go home. But sometimes he also spread gossip. And worst of all, he told secrets. Other people's secrets. Things his friends trusted him not to tell. He didn't mean to. Somehow the words just popped out. Usually Blabber felt terrible about it afterward. Once, at school, when Blabber was hungry, his friend Lulu gave him a cheesy chip cookie from her secret supply. Blabber told Kate where the cookies were. And then he told Charlotte. And then he told Jojo. They each borrowed just one from Lulu's supply. They were not greedy. The next time Lulu went to get a cheesy chip cookie, they were all gone. Lulu guessed what had happened. "You owe me cookies, Blabber," she said. "Big time." "Why do you fall all over yourself when you walk by Lulu's desk?" Blabber asked Jojo one morning. "I have a secret crush on her," Jojo whispered. "I just get nervous around her." Blabber thought that was so sweet. He told Lulu. Lulu was so embarrassed, she hid behind her tail every time Jojo stumbled by. Another time, Blabber's friend Charlotte told him that her 28 cousins were coming to stay for a week. "Last night, my mom was a nervous wreck running around the house," she said. "Charlotte's mom wrecked their house last night," Blabber told his friends. Of course, it turned out she hadn't wrecked anything at all. Blabber's friends realized he was only blabbing again. He can't help it, they said. He just can't keep his big mouth shut. And Blabber couldn't. One day at school, George whispered to Blabber, "Mrs. Numley has a tiny tattoo by her armpit, but I can't tell what it is." Of course, Blabber just had to tell somebody. So he told everybody. Mrs. Numley thought it was so odd that the class suddenly paid so much attention when she wrote on the board. Sometimes Blabber's blabbing gave away surprises, even his own. When it was his big sister's birthday, he found the perfect present for her, a Ratty Boys poster. He was so excited about it. He had to tell someone what it was. So he told his big sister. When she opened her present, she was no good at pretending. "What a surprise," she said. Then there was the time Blabber went with his friends Joan and George to see his favorite scary movie, Kitties at Play. He'd seen it 16 times. The movie opened with a very frightening scene. "Don't be scared," Blabber told them. "By the end, the kitties all become friends with the mice." "Blabber!" howled Joan and George. "You ruined the whole movie." Not long after that, Mrs. Numley had a bad Friday. She got to school late, wearing her dress inside out. She had recess duty in a sudden downpour. Then there were 5 fire drills. Before noon, she sat on her sandwich. After lunch, Jojo was sick in the wastebasket. By the end of the day, Mrs. Numley stood at the door looking particularly frazzled. "Class dismissed," she said weakly. "She forgot homework," George whispered to Blabber. "Mrs. Numley, you forgot homework," Blabber called out before he could stop himself. "Thanks for reminding me," said Mrs. Numley. That was the last straw. Blabber's friends knew they had to stop him before he blabbed again. But how? Uh-oh, his friends don't seem too happy with him right now. But what are you thinking about Blabber Mouse right now? How do you think his friends are feeling? Stay tuned for next time where we synthesize the ideas and information in the text to figure out the main idea or the theme of this book. What do you think we can learn from this book? What lesson can we learn? Stay tuned. Thanks for reading with me.